You are given exactly 60 seconds to answer this question. If you're done with your answers, you can skip the timer and proceed to the discussion portion to verify whether your answers are correct or not. If you may, you can share your answers as a comment in the comment section below. If you need more time, you can pause this video in any moment you want. Your 60 seconds starts now. At this time, our multiples here, or our arcs here, are multiples of pi over 6, and we are going to determine the coordinates of the terminal points of the following arcs. Let's use this unit circle here, again unit circle, because the distance of any point on the circle towards the center is just equal to 1. Now, you don't need to memorize all of the special arcs or the arcs on our unit circle, or don't need to memorize their coordinates. Simply be reminded of the simplest form. We have here pi over 6. Okay? Pi over 6, we already have the video for this. We're able to understand and analyze how do we able to solve for the coordinate, but this is actually equivalent to 30 degrees, right? Okay, we used that in the previous video. So if we're going to assume it here, probably here, okay, hopefully it's correct. This would be the terminal point with x and y of our arc pi over 6. And we're moving counterclockwise because pi over 6 is positive. If we are going to have positive arcs, the movement would be counterclockwise starting from this as 0. If it's negative, just like the other two, we're going to have clockwise. Okay. Now, we already have the coordinates for our pi over 6. We had that already, so we don't need to show you the process of solving that. You can review the video provided for that. But we are sure here that our pi over 6, our x is somewhere here, so it's almost equal to 1. So that would be square root of 3 over 2. And as you can see for our y, it halves here. Okay, we have 1/2. It divides into 2 equal parts. Yeah, this would be the point for our pi over 6. And by the way, this will also be the same figures. I'm not saying the entire value, but figures. As we solve for the coordinates of the arcs, which has the same denominator of 6. So you don't need to really memorize all of them. Just remember the simplest form of an arc with denominator 6, and all the other 6 denominators will have the same figures here, but they will just differ on the signs, because we also need to remind ourselves with the location, the correct location of the terminal points of each arc. So let's do it like that here. We know that again this is pi. Half the semicircle from here to there is pi, from here to there is also pi, but in negative movements, or negative pi. Nevertheless, it's just pi. The first or the second item here is 7 pi over 6. So we have 7 pi over 6. I'm telling you right now, simply copy this. Square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. But we are not yet done. Just simply copy that. Okay, that's the hint. Simply copy that, and we are going to complete this by analyzing the terminal point as to which quadrant this the terminal point of this arc will fall to. So let's look at our pi here. Of course, our pi over 6 will be divided into 6 parts. So we have this part here, and this part here as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, assuming that my division is correct. So we have 1 pi over 6, 2, 3, 4, 5 pi over 6, but we are not yet done. 6 pi over 6, of course. 6 pi over 6 is just pi, that's why we reach here. But our goal is 7 pi over 6. Where do we locate that? Simply continue dividing the other region. Divide this region as well. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This here, hopefully this is straighter. This point here is the terminal point of 7 pi over 6 as we move clockwise. This is the terminal point. Okay? We have the same figures, but the problem now is the sign. This is located at quadrant 3, right? Our terminal point is at quadrant 3. What are the signs of x and y here? Our x is actually negative. So with the same figure, place negative. As easy as that. Our y is also negative, place negative. In short, the coordinate of 7 pi over 6 is negative square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2. Take note, we just copied that here. But the signs will matter on the placement of the terminal point. That's how, I'm not saying easy, but that's how logical is solving for the coordinates once you're able to determine this. And of course, the idea of the division or of our pi and the movement of the arcs. Okay? Now let's proceed to the next one. The coordinate of negative 5 pi over 6. This time, it's negative. Okay? It's a negative movement. So, we are going to move clockwise in this case because it's negative. So, since it is already divided into 6 parts, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Surprisingly, I did not actually expect this to happen. Surprisingly, the point where, or the terminal point of positive 7 pi over 6 is also the terminal point of negative 5 pi over 6. It's not yet part of this video, but the term we use there is coterminal, meaning they have the same terminal point. If we have the same terminal point or they are coterminal, we have the same coordinates. And of course, if you don't like the idea of coterminal, this again located at the third quadrant. So simply copy this if you would like to. So copy square root of 3 over 2, and then you copy 1/2. But the sign now will follow the sign of the third quadrant, so negative and negative here. As mentioned, they are just the same because they are coterminal. Okay? It just so happened that they are coterminal, so it's just like that. So the location of the terminal point tells us a lot about the coordinates of each terminal point. Let's have the last one. The coordinate of negative pi over 6. That's negative, so we just simply move here and only 1. This is the terminal point of that arc, negative 5 pi over 6. Even if you don't know yet the location, you can just simply copy first this. We have the same, over 2, and we have 1/2. Actually, they are really just the same. The signs will just be different. Okay, so quadrant 4. This is on quadrant 4. And what happens to the sign in quadrant 4? X is still positive, but Y now is negative. As you can see, they have the same figures, only different on the signs. Okay? Since these two are coterminals, let's try to add one more. Let's say I'm going to add here, what do you call this one? Negative, yeah, let's try to have negative 7 pi, sorry, let me use negative 7 pi over 6. Negative 7 pi over 6. So this is negative. Let's move clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the terminal point of negative 7 pi over 6 because it's negative. We're moving clockwise. So this is in quadrant 2. So again, copy the same Okay, copy the same figure, square root of 3 over 2, and you have here 1/2, and then the signs. The sign for quadrant 2, the x is negative, but the y is positive. So this is already its terminal point. So that is how we determine the coordinates, especially if we have the same denominators. You don't need to memorize all. You simply be reminded of the simplest form, its coordinate, the movement, and the location of your terminal point, and just simply change the signs. Thank you for watching.